In the past 2 years, I've made over 1,000 builds in Minecraft. Why? Well, it's a bit of a long story, so let me explain. Since I was but a wee youngin', I always wanted to be a YouTuber, a job I'm sure a lot of kids wanted, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. It was always in the back of my mind no matter what I was doing. But there was one problem. What was my channel gonna be about? Probably something to do with gaming, as it had always been something I enjoyed doing, but what game? Well, this question had been answered when I stumbled upon the Minecraft builds subreddit. That's it. I'd make my own Minecraft builds, but I mean, how do you even build? What do people want to see? How do I grow my following? These were all questions that I'd learned the answer to through time and patience. So, within a day or two, I created my Instagram page and my very first build, this little greenhouse thing. And then, the grind was on. Every single day I was creating something new. Windmills, fishing docks, mountain houses, enchanting areas, mansion gardens, mine entrances, and so much more. I was slowly improving my skills with each build, learning more and more about building techniques as I progressed. But I was definitely still pretty far from a great builder. But then I had an amazing idea for a build. Something that hadn't really been done before and something I was sure was going to be awesome. The concept, a Minecraft update idea. That's right, I was going to create my own builds for a theoretical update to Minecraft, add text to them, explaining what they are and how they'd work. And for the first update idea, I came up with the island update. And what this update would do is overhaul the existing islands that generate in Minecraft and make them more realistic and interesting to explore. There'd be small ones, large ones, structures could spawn on them, and the update would even add a brand new tree type, the palm tree. And so I created the builds and posted it, hoping for the best. The next day I woke up and my phone had exploded. Okay, it was actually fine, but after checking the post, it had 44,000 upvotes, almost 5 times more than my previous best post. I was absolutely over the moon, celebrating with champagne and hookers. Now, after the post had run its course and died down, I realized I had to capitalize on this success and create more, and that's exactly what I did. Next up was the volcano update idea, something I definitely thought would be a cool addition to the game, but something I knew would cause a little bit of controversy in the comments, which I may have actually wanted to increase the engagement. So I created a big volcano which was mid-eruption and a second smaller one that was dormant and could even theoretically spawn with diamonds inside. Then it was onto the coastal update, which would update beach generation so it wasn't so boring. It would make beaches wider and longer. It would also add in these new ocean caves with a chance to spawn a trader villager inside. It would also add in these new rocky shores and the craziest thing, fully customizable sailable ships. Just imagine how cool it would be to create your own boat and sail it. The next update idea was the structures update. Now, as the name implies, this one would add a whole bunch of new structures that could randomly spawn within Minecraft. It would add things like small camps, large camps, big stone statues, above ground spawners, which was a pretty crazy idea that I had, and it would even overhaul some existing structures like the stronghold and dungeon designs. Next was onto the desert update, which would add a whole bunch of new things to the deserts of Minecraft. It would add these new giant pyramids, which are basically multi-leveled labyrinths. The first floor would be the parkour stage, then onto the time trial puzzle, and finally the pharaoh boss battle. It would also add things like a thirst bar that would only be active when you're in deserts, kind of like in Runescape, and in conjunction with this, there would also be a new desert well design and even an oasis could spawn in deserts too. And the final thing for this update would be some quicksand pits, because why not? Now I'm going to skip a few and get straight to my most popular update idea, the river update. This one actually got picked up by a bunch of gaming news websites, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, so this update would just add a whole bunch of variants to the existing rivers in Minecraft. It would add new sizes like a river, which I mean is already in the game, and then a creek which is smaller than rivers, and finally a stream which is only about 1 to 2 blocks wide. All of these would also have their own different types like lush, dried, and more. And the update would also add some extra cool things as well, like waterfalls. Now, I wasn't only creating update ideas. In the meantime, I was still creating my regular builds, ocean traders, well designs, wall designs, bridges, underwater bases, and more. And at this point, I was still creating and posting every single day without a break at all, which leads to something pretty bad, burnout. I definitely felt as if I was getting burnt out. The builds weren't improving as much, the ideas weren't getting better, and I was pretty exhausted, so I had to do something about it. And what I decided on doing was scaling back a bit. I would post less frequently, every other day instead of every single day, and I'd start posting some smaller builds. And this ended up becoming one of my best decisions I ever made during my building career. Instead of creating single builds, I started creating these posts where it was 4 builds instead. It could have been 4 different styles of the same build, 4 builds relating to the same idea, or anything like that. Now, just due to the nature of these builds, my skill level was increasing very quickly and the posts were doing really well. I was creating so many different types of builds in different styles and just learning so much along the way. It's definitely a really great way of just practicing building and getting a lot better at building in a really short amount of time. I highly recommend doing that. Now, later on, I did eventually sort of switch back to the single build style just because I wanted to change it up a bit. I started creating some stuff that is just super unique because that's truly what I love creating. I've created phobias inside of Minecraft. Things like thalassophobia, the fear of deep and open ocean. I've done xylophobia, the fear of forests, submechanophobia, which is the fear of partially or fully submerged man-made objects, and even kenophobia, the fear of voids and open spaces. These builds are among some of the most fun I've had creating builds just because it's something I'm deeply interested in and it's really never been done before. Also, if you're interested, I have a full video on creating these phobia builds and I recommend checking it out. I've also created some other super unique builds like what the surfaces of some moons looks like, some levels from the backrooms, farms from real life like coffee farms and chocolate farms. I've even made some farms relating to certain illegal substances and even a goddamn torture chamber, which is definitely a weird one. I've also spent a lot of time creating some more regular builds and working on my techniques and skills. I've created multiple variations of the same builds and kind of just seeing how I've changed or improved in some aspects, and that's something I really recommend doing on your own building journeys. Create a bunch of regular builds, stuff like mine entrances, bridges, base designs, house designs, and just revisit the subject later on and compare what your older builds look like to your newer builds. And I guarantee you'll be surprised at how much better your more recent builds will look. Doing that is something that helped me identify an issue I actually had throughout a portion of my building career: over detailing. Some of my earlier builds were definitely way too detailed and were holding back my potential. At the time, I didn't even realize it, and it really helped comparing my older builds to my newer ones and realizing they were just way too detailed. And so that pretty much leads us to the final chapter of my story, which is also the saddest part, but yeah. So after everything, all the work I put in of over 2 years of building and growing this account, creating all of these builds and everything, it all vanished just like that. How, you might ask? For impersonating someone, according to Instagram. Obviously at no point did I ever impersonate someone else. Why on God's green earth would I do that? But Instagram just blindly swung the ban hammer without even giving me a chance and just deleted everything like that. I tried several times to appeal the ban, but nothing ever worked and they just didn't seem to care whatsoever. And that's how it is to this day. My account is gone, but I do have a second account on there where I've been posting reels and stuff, but it's not really the same thing. But the silver lining to the ban is that it made me start focusing more on what I truly love doing: creating YouTube videos. In that same month I got banned, my channel exploded in growth. I recently hit 100,000 subscribers, something I never even dreamed of hitting, and it's looking like my dream job is going to finally be possible. So in a way, I'm grateful for my account's unjustified banning, but at the same time, it still does suck losing all of that work. And so that pretty much concludes basically my entire story and why I created so many builds over a 2-year time period. If I had the chance to do it all again, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me in recent years, and I appreciate each and every one of you for watching this video and supporting me. I'm very excited for the future of my channel. I have so many ideas and videos that I want to create, and I just can't wait. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.